Hello, this is me, Samantha, the Pro Se Queen. I am going to go ahead and talk to you. This is going to be a three-part video. And what we're going to talk about the pros and cons of suing, straighten out your credit, all of these things. So I'm combining all the questions that people constantly ask me into a three-part video. And I encourage you to look at it, get some insight. If you have any questions or if you just confused about what you need to do, okay? First of all, I'm not an attorney, so I just do extensive research in law, and I do litigations for attorneys and some pro se litigants, okay? Before I start, go ahead and like this channel, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and get notifications so you know what to do. Be on the up and up of what I'm getting ready to talk about, okay? All right. So, I get so many, like I said, I get so many people inboxing me, and I call them or we talk and they talk about they want to sue, which it's easy said and done. And so many, when they start suing and I start talking about the things, they get discouraged. They talk about, oh, I didn't think it was going to cost that much, or I didn't think that it would be that much, or an attorney told me I didn't have a case, all of that. Okay, so we're going to talk with the attorneys. No, I'm going to talk about me first. A lot of times, I don't like to litigate. I don't like to file things in court. That is my it all or be all. But if I have to, then I go into full litigation mode. A lot of times I don't. I hope and I pray that, they'll go ahead and fix it and settle with this and, go ahead and get it over with so that I can move on and move to something else. But unlike a lot of creditors and stuff, a lot of people, they want to call your bluff. But when I start telling you, look, I'm getting ready to go ahead and litigate, I'm getting ready to go do this, then I'm letting you know. But a lot of times they call my bluff, and, I have to go and do it, I have to file. Filing is, even if you're doing it pro se, it's still going to cost you some money, because you may end up paying the filing fees or somebody to draft it, or let's say you drafting it up by yourself. The court is going to hold you, even though the court is not going to hold you at a higher standard as an attorney. They're going to expect you to know the rules and the procedure as anything else. So they do give you leeway, but they don't give you leeway to the point where, hey, you can make up all these allegations. They don't like reading rambling stuff. They like to read stuff that's well pleaded out, consistent, and with facts and evidence. That's why a lot of people will come to me, because that's what I do. Okay, so, and I do charge. Because once I start, I can't just do the complaint, and then if I do the complaint, you're going to want me to help you with the case. So my fees will go with the filing the complaint, making sure the motions are right, making sure, if you have to do electronic filing, make sure that's okay. Make sure everything is on point before you do what you got to do. So when I start, it's like it's on. A lot of people don't want to hear that, that this is the price that I charge, or this is the price what the court asks you to pay. Can you file Papa's oath? Yeah, you can. But I'm going to be honest, doing now at this time, I don't think they're really granted, because the government is having a lot of financial hardship due to the coronavirus. And, so it is what it is. Another thing is that you got to realize that when you're going into the court system, you got a lot of people who are not favored, judges who are not favor of pro se litigants filing in the court. Even though the Supreme Court and the appellate court has said something, a lot of judges just don't want to deal with pro se litigants. And because of that, they usually, I tend to say, jump on the defendant's bandwagon and start finding tricks and stuff to get you to either have to dismiss the case or settle the case, at which is, we're going to talk about that too. But settle the case, and you may not be getting more than what you bargained for, okay? But we're going to talk in that's going to be in the second part of the video. Okay, so when you start a case, first thing you have to do is that you got to collect your evidence. I wouldn't collect my evidence when I file. I'll collect my evidence before I file. Make sure you have all your documentation. Make sure you have everything that you say. Like I said, I keep doing this. I keep emphasizing my little nice book. I keep emphasizing this because this is, to me, this is my journal. Whenever I'm getting ready to file a complaint against somebody, or I'm getting ready to sue, I bought this for 50 cents at Walmart. They have them on clearance all the time, and I keep a whole stack of them. I know I do, and sometimes I give them to my clients, people that hire me, because this was helped you. And in it, I have documentation of things. I write down cases. You can put receipts and stuff in here, motions that you file, things are ordered from the court. So I keep this right here. And normally I date them. I date it at the top. I haven't did this one yet, but I date it at the top because this tells me, like for instance, and I keep tabs on it. I always press tabs on it because this tells me, like, if I talk to somebody, let's say I'm going to use credit acceptance. I call credit acceptance and I talk to Maggie. I talked to Maggie on the April the 1st at 7 o'clock. I asked her for an agent number. What's her agent number? She refused to give it to me. I just put in there she refused. But I have all of that so that when I start doing my litigation and they say, well, did you talk to anybody? Yes, I did. I talked to Maggie on the 1st of April. This is what she said to me, and this is how she said the account. I make sure when I ask for a payment history or whatever, I keep it on my calendar. I also keep it here, but I keep it on my calendar so that I know, okay, if I ever lose this, I got this. Because I want them to know that, if they say, well, did you ever call and ask for it? Yes, ma'am. On June the 1st, I called at such and such a time. I called and request, this is what I request. I tell everybody, before you start talking about lawsuits and stuff, get your documentation together. That's the most important thing, because you can make allegations, all that, and the court says that allegations without support, they just allegations, and they do not support that. So I make sure I get all of that. Emails are very important. Sometimes I do print out emails, but I do keep emails. I put them in a special folder, because if I'm, a lot of times when I know it's getting ready to get down to the wire of me deciding if I want to sue or not, hey, I need to keep documentation. I need to know what is going on, that I did tell this person, this is what happened, this is what they said. Okay, yes, so I can use it in court. Emails can be used in court. So that's what I do. Okay, so when you get all of this together, there is a statute of limitations on certain things that you can sue or that you can file a complaint. The court says that once you notice it, that's when the statute of limitations go into play. So, but I tell people to try to do it within a timeline between a year or a year and a half. Don't let it go 2 years. Some says you can go 3, but, get it in a reasonable time, okay? I'm going to go ahead and try to take this sticker thing off while I'm talking to y'all. So, that's what I do. A lot of times people say, well, Miss Samantha, you may have to end up in bankruptcy court. And people say, well, I don't want to file bankruptcy because it's going to look bad on my credit. And baby, if your credit is already at 300, 400, pull your credit. Pull your credit. A lot of people that call me do not pull their credit. They just assume that because they been through this, that they don't have to, that their credit has been messed up. A lot of credit bureaus are keeping old information on your credit. Because of this, your credit score is going to be down because you never disputed. If you notice now, there's a trend where collection agencies are not putting things on your credit. Why? Because they can easily be removed. So they'll just send you letters and stuff and tell you that, they're going to go ahead and take whatever they're going to take. So what you do is you pull your credit. You pull all three of your credits. You can go to annual credit report, which is free, or you can go on TransUnion or Equifax or whatever. They provide you with a free credit report. Once you do that, you sit down and you compare all three of the credit reports. See if they accurate. See what's on there. Then you can dispute that. If you can't, how would you know what you're dealing with if you cannot dispute what you see? You just assume it. I know a lot of people that have bad credit when they was 18, they 40 now. Have you ever pulled your credit? No, I'm going to get around to it. Well, you can't fight something you don't know. So my advice is pull your credit. Sit down, pull your credit. Write down, jot down your notes. You know what's all bad on there. And then, go from there. You can go on a credit site and fight them a disputed annual. Or you can go to Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And that's part of the Department of Justice. And you can go ahead and dispute it there. In fact, you can dispute all three of them there. So that should help you. When you do that, document. Go to your calendar. Put in there that, or put in your note that, hey, I did it this time. They have 30 days to fix their credit, modified or justified. So you got 30 days. Then let's say, for instance, they come back and they say, well, you know what? This is your account. And you say, well, it is mine, but it's expired. It's no good. I paid it off or whatever. Under the law of Cushman versus TransUnion, that you can file again, and then they'll turn around and they have to reinvestigate it. They have to go deeper than that, go above and beyond to make sure that what you're saying is correct. Also, if you got documentation to show it, then you can go ahead and, dispute it on there. On my phone, I have camera scan. On my phone. This is my phone, my camera scan. I go on my camera scan. I put the documentation in, and then I go ahead and, I send it off. Now, right now, like me, I'm dealing with Equifax. Equifax had two accounts in my name, one in my maiden name and one in my married name. And instead of them, when I asked them to delete the married name and put it up, just, the maiden account, I'm getting twisted, and then put my maiden name on my married name, they merged the accounts. And because of that, I didn't know what was on the old one and what's on the new one. So right there, I consider that a data breach, because how can you can't have two separate accounts. So I did that. Another thing that you may want to do before you start lawsuit is that go ahead and research law firms. I'm going to be honest. A lot of law firms do not want to handle that, not as an individual, because the first thing they're going to ask you is show you payment history. It doesn't matter that the creditor has violated you. They want you to show that you have been paying them. That is false. Under Waterton versus credit acceptance, I'm using credit acceptance as a case. In Waterton versus credit acceptance, that it showed that some of the defendants were in default. And the judge still gave them reason, because it's the motive behind it. And that is if a creditor is doing something that causes you to be behind, then yes, you can take them to court. Now, that's the best part of it. Here's the worst part that I keep telling everybody. For you to fight to get your credit fixed, it's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you $200. You talking about $200, you're going to get somebody to rip you off. If you talking about $300, you're going to get somebody to rip you off. Most people who do their work and find out, even with me, find out who that person is before you start sending money to. Don't just because it sounds good, they say they make promises and they do all of this, they don't deliver. A lot of times, I try to help people out. I try to do what I'm supposed to do, but you got folks that don't want to listen. They don't want to do this. You got scammers out here who that, want something for nothing. They'll sit here and they'll get your information, and then they'll turn around and tell somebody they didn't deliver it to you. You have those type of people. So my thing is that I try to do the best work that I can with what I can. I've had a very good success rate with those that I have helped. Because one thing, people who are really serious about fixing their credit, they don't want them traits on there, and they don't want all of that stuff. They want their own credit fixed, even if it means starting fresh, even if it means that they may have to file bankruptcy. If your credit is messed up and you owe and you owe, just because you may owe credit acceptance or a creditor does not mean that you have not been violated. But you have to know what your rights is, which brings me back to my notepad. I try to tell people, research, help you get informed. Because if you get ready to file a case in federal court, state court, or wherever court you're going to need, you're going to have to know, especially if you represent yourself, you're going to have to know what to say to that judge. Right now, the coronavirus is making it a lot beneficial for pro se litigants because they don't have to go to court. Their paperwork is basically speaking for themselves. But if you're getting ready to go in there, let's say you're going before a judge and stuff, you're going to have to know what you're getting ready to say. That's where court coaching come in. That's what you got to have. You just can't file a lawsuit and say, hey, he's going to do this. It don't work that way. Another thing is when I tell people to stop rambling. I've had clients say, well, why you cut me off? Because you're giving out too much information. Don't give, in the law, in this complaint, you don't have to tell that, I'm just pointing to this, but you don't have to tell that judge, I was on my way to, I had just picked up my boyfriend from prison, and I was on my way to so-and-so, and I stopped to get gas, and this is what happened. You don't have to do all of that. You make it short, simple, to the point. You address all the issues. You tell them what you're going to do, what happened, and all of that. Any witnesses in there, that's what you provide. Let's say with your credit report, same thing. I tried to go get a car May 5th. I went to so-and-so, and so-and-so. The dealer ran my credit and told me this is what happened. As a result of that, I pulled my credit and this what happened. You don't have to say, and the dealer told me, baby, your credit is messed up. I don't see how you can get anything. That's irrelevant. Okay. So when you start doing that, like I said, check and see. Like me being a ghostwriter, I do certain things for clients, but it's not my job to stay on you to help you keep your lawsuit. It is frustrating. I'm not going to lie. The judge, if you got, I tell everybody that's the reason why you need to vote, especially in elections. And people say, no, I don't need to vote. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because these same politicians that you don't want to vote for, they make a decision in your life when they vote. When in state elections, the judges have to be elected. Federal, the president or somebody can appoint them there. And if you got somebody, I tell everybody, and it's the truth. I said the Klan and took off them bed sheets and became police officers, politicians, presidents. They became in government officials because this is what they do. So when you talk about your rights, just not in court, you got to remember now, you got to be active in the political ring, whether you want to or not. You're going to have to be, because even the Supreme Court, they make the president can appoint anybody in the Supreme Court. So you have to be able to know if you don't protect your rights, you're going to lose them. We're all going to lose them. So that's the purpose. Like right now, we have to be steadfast. Let's say even if you did get an attorney, I'd still tell clients, get this book. Go get your book. Write down when you go to a lawyer. I keep pointing to my book. When you go to a lawyer, make sure you write notes. Write notes what he says. Write notes what he's gonna do. Ask him questions. Write down questions. See, then he knows he don't have a fool. He got somebody that's watching him. A lot of people ask me. I had a lady that she had a personal injury. She said, Miss Samantha, it's been 9 months. She said, and I've been going to the doctors. My things are coming up. She said, and I've been calling this lawyer. He won't even call me back. I said, he's supposed to. So I said, well, I said, baby, he ain't going to call you back until a year. It's almost a year of that case, and he's going to call you. It happened. He settled the case. Ain't that something? Year hadn't even passed. Year was almost up, and he settled the case. Case that where she would have gotten, I'll say maybe $50,000. She got $18,000. Some things with an attorney you can do anyway. They already got a set rate. So you filing a claim against them, like I said, it is what it is. So my thing is that if you're going to sue, look at all your options. Look at everything that's on the table. Can you afford it? What are you willing to put up with? What is your patience? Can you handle that? Can you handle the deadlines, the motions, all of the stuff that the court is going to require? If you're willing to answer to that, and if you're willing to be able to spend the money, to do the time, to help with the work, then yes, I would suggest that if you can't resolve it outside the court, take it to court. But if you are the type of person that you give somebody something and you expect them to do all the work, even if it's an attorney, and you expect them to do all the work, and then you turn around, you want some results, you want to get paid, but you don't want to do the work, you don't want to follow up on your attorney. My thing is that you get an attorney, or you don't sue, or you accept it. But fighting legal is a fight. And you got to be willing to be able to fight in order for you to prevail. I hope this video was exciting. I'm going to go ahead and finish with section 2, part 2 of the video. And in it, we're going to talk about settlements. We're going to talk about how you could talk to people on the phone about settlements and what should you do. I thank you very much.